This is Mitch, and welcome to the 1000houses.com podcast. I'm here with Sam Kwak, and he and his brother came to this country not even really knowing the language or the culture at all, as you would imagine, coming as an immigrant. And we're going to learn about this story and this amazing transformation, because we're also going to share with you today that he and his brother have gone from 0 units to 75 units in 1 year. So,
right.
I love so many people get addicted to that, to the big check or the check, cash.
Yeah, the wholesaling and all that.
I don't give a damn about money in the bank. What I want to know is how much is coming in on the first.
Right.
Because the bigger that number gets, the more I can spend, because whether I spend 25% of it or 50% of it or all of it, it's all getting replaced on the first.
Right.
It's replenishing on the first.
100%.
And on and on and on and on and on and on, So
right.
I've never, my banks have always said to me, when are you going to leave some money in the bank? And I'm saying to them, why? How much do you want me to have? They say 500,000. I said, so you want me to take $500,000, and I'm young in my career, 5-6 years into my career. You want me to leave $500,000, sit making less than 1%?
Yeah. No.
Doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, I mean, that's where the banks win, because they can take that deposit and make more money for themselves. But so that's the journey, Mitch. I mean, if we can do it, so I think anyone can. This is probably the biggest thing I drill even to my own students and some of the people I work with is like, there's nothing that's stopping you. There's no law or regulation that tells you, you can only have 10 units a year, right? There's no law or regulation that tells you can't raise money, right? Zero, like free enterprise, baby. So most of it just comes down to personal belief, or people just don't believe that it's possible to go from 0 to whatever. I think more people can go do better than us, clearly, but I'm just saying it's possible.
No, it's an impressive story. No one's, that's what I always try to tell people too. I bought a house every 4 to 5 days for 2.5 decades. Somewhere down the street, someone that bought 10,000 houses a minute. It's not about that.
Right.
But there's a lot of people. There's a ton of people out there that would like to be able to accomplish what you accomplished in 1 year. Now, it's a little deceiving, because you had a lot of groundwork in before that year started.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of work of learning, right? Because we started in 2014. So it was 3 years of just constantly watering my tree, right? And then the tree being a metaphor to my knowledge and the business, but it is a constant. But what's interesting is that you hit a threshold where just like it clicks, and it's just like a waterfall of just never ending success. So I'll tell you what, it's kind of like, and I'm sure you've heard this before, but this is how a bamboo tree grows. Okay. If you take a bamboo tree, you plant it, you water it, you water it, you water it. And for the first 3 years, it doesn't grow. I mean, barely little, you can't even see it. Most people will say, yeah, I think my bamboo tree is broken.
It's growing a root system under the surface, right?
Right. But on the 4th year, it shoots 20 feet. It's crazy how that works. So it just like a bamboo tree. In fact, the reason why I actually grow a bamboo tree right here behind me is to remind me every time I walk into the office, hey, patience, put in your work, put in your grind. And then when you zoom out, you're going to see the product. You're going to see the 20 feet shoot that you had. So most people don't give enough attention and time, the energy and the amount of grind that they have to do. And I know some people, it's hard to have that confidence or to see the momentum, but it's usually on that 3rd or 4th year, something happens. It's like a dam that breaks. And I don't know, it's that magic number. I hear that all the time, is the 3rd year for most people, that's where they break and just completely dominate. So
you lost a lot of people right there, where you said it took about 3 years to get ready. And then in that 4th year, you got your one, you went from 0 to whatever. We probably lost a lot of people right there. So, 3 years. Yeah. Well, and that doesn't really mean that it has to take them 3 years. My God, you came from the biggest deficit in the world. You didn't know the language, didn't know the culture, didn't know the laws, didn't have a network, don't know anybody from anybody. I mean, it really, if it took you 3 years, I would say some people could do it in a year or a year and a half.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Do it in 6 months, maybe. But
the fastest way, I think right now, if people want the shortcut and just looking back, I can tell you what the shortcut is find someone that is good at what you want to do and pay them to teach you whatever they got to teach you to get you successful. Like just last year, I think I spent close to 6 figures in accessing networks, learning, coaching, mentoring. I paid close to, I mean, I won't say the number, but I paid 5 figures just to get into a mastermind, right? So that I can meet the people there, learn from people there. And the people in this mastermind, they're doing 8 figures, 9 figures, just killing it. And so I want to know their secrets, what they're doing, and what made them successful, so that I can take that principle and learn and do it myself. That's the fastest way to growth in my experience. So if you're stuck, if you feel like you're not getting where, or you're in a rut, the fastest way is find someone who's more successful or is doing, is killing it at what you want to do, and find them and follow them around like a shadow. That's the fastest way to learn. Yes,
I agree 100%. So again, if you want to get the free book, 0 to 75 units in 1 year, go to 1000houses.com/units. And also, we're going to be talking about a challenge that you're presenting. Tell us about this challenge.
Yeah, so my brother and I are getting ready to launch a challenge. It's a 5-day challenge designed to help you and teach you to find deals, because I think that's probably the biggest thing I hear right now from a lot of real estate investors who are just getting started, or maybe they've been in the game for a while, is they keep telling me, Sam, I can't find the deals. I don't know where to find the deals. So we've created a 5-day challenge where in 5 days, we're going to show you how to find the deals, step by step, baby steps, right? It's the KISS method, keep it simple, stupid. And we're going to show you how to find as many deals as possible in those 5 days. And that's also going to be in the show notes as well.
I'll agree. Never been more competition out there. It's never been harder to find deals. But that being said, this year, 2022, we kick off January with 25 acquisitions. And then in February, another 15. We're used to buying about 100 houses a year, every year for the last 2.5 decades, 2.5+ decades. So about 100 houses a year, about 2,500 houses in my career, in and about my hometown. But for some reason, and I can tell you what it is. In one of the toughest environments out there, we're probably going to have a record-breaking year.
Wow.
And it has everything to do with what you were talking about earlier. Our 3 acquisition guys have now been around 4, 5, and 6 years.
There it is.
Okay.
Yep.
They've built network, they've built relationships, they've learned what works, they've learned what doesn't work, they've grown into their own skin, how to negotiate. Everyone has to negotiate different how they feel. You have to make the negotiation yours, how you do it, and figure out how that works. We all have a little bit more money in our pocket than we did when we started, so budgets can be a little bit bigger. Right. You know what I mean? A lot of different reasons why. Someone just asked me, how come you're going to have a record year in one of the toughest years, it seems like, for everybody? And I had to think about it for a minute. But that's why. We've laid 4, 5, and 6 years worth of groundwork with the people with the people in the system.
Right.
The youngest guy is 4 years at it, and he actually made the most last year, the youngest guy. The other 2, of course, the other 2 take on some other tasks for us and are a little more focused on cash flow. Sometimes you take a cut and pay when you're trying to rack up cash flow. You have to understand that.
Yeah,
if you're going to go for income that comes in, whether you get out of bed or not, it might be a little slower than just flipping something for cash. You might have to take a little back step to the big check every now and then, or for a little while, if you want to really truly get free. Because the flipping and the rehabbing and the wholesaling, unless you learn how to systematize it and get above it, then it's just a job, a glorified job, where you are 100% recipient of what goes right, but you're also 100% recipient of what goes wrong. And usually not enough time to really have a life, because the more volume you do, the less time you'll have to live in enjoying it. So there's got to be this mix, where People say wholesaling's a job. Well, it is, but there are people out there that can teach you how to wholesale from a cruise ship. But it's going to take about a year to get that set up, probably. I mean, I know when I tried to get out of my business, it took 14, 15 months for me to back myself all the way out the front door and out into the street and in my truck and down the road. It took me 14 months. But now, you know, I'm buying houses right now. What are we doing, Sam? We're talking. Do I look like I'm buying houses right now? I am.
Yeah, but you got a system.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Yeah. So again, I want you guys to get a hold of this book. What's it called? You know, it's a free book to listen to a man who went from 0 to 75 houses in less than a year, and he came to this country and didn't know the language. You know, maybe you ought to go through this book. It only takes 1 or 2 sentences sometimes from somebody in a book to alter your path or to change the way you think.
Right.
You know, we call it the nugget. I read a book, I'm looking for a nugget. And you don't have to ask when the nugget happens. The nugget will tell you it just happened.
Yeah,
right?
it just happens. Yeah.
You'll slap your forehead and go, holy, that changes everything. I never thought of it like that. Or, ooh, I finally understand. Or I get it now. Because someone said it in some words that were in the order that you could grasp, you know, or that touched you or reached you through all your, you know, all your limiting beliefs and everything that you have. Something got through. And
100%.
I just love your story, man. I love your story. I kind of feel kind of kin, but I in no way had your hardship. But I, honest to God, I got down and I started to imagine myself as an immigrant. Like nobody owes me. I don't know anything. I don't have anything. I gotta bring something up out of the ground. I gotta bring something out of thin air. I gotta make it happen. And there's no one to turn to. I cut everybody else off. I had to go forge it myself. And I really did try to view myself as an immigrant, which was, in my opinion, the immigrant that I was trying to emulate was the one that came not feeling like anything was owed to them, but came for the chance to live a dream. You know, if they would put out enough, if they would give up enough, you know, if they would persevere long enough, you know. And I made up my mind one day that I would. Significantly different than yours. You had nothing to go but forward. I had all the and I had to go throw it away. You know, I had the car, I had the house, I had to go throw it all away to start over. So
yeah. Well, I mean, there's a good saying in the Bible, right? Those who want to gain their life will lose it. Those who want to lose their life will gain it. You know,
yes, and I do notice this about you too. You're Christian based. The greatest self-help book ever written. As a matter of fact, every self-help book that's ever been written copied out of the Bible 1,000%. Here's the good news.
Right.
The good Lord wants you to copy it, right? You can even take credit for it if you want. But it was said 2,000 years ago.
Right.
It was all done. You want to know what your problem is or how to fix your problem, it's always been there. You can read it written in a different book if you want to, or with a different cover, with a different author, but it all came from the same place. They're universal truths.
Yeah,
you know?
100%.
So tell us about the challenge again. We got a little off track. So you got the challenge. So what do? They're going to go to 1000houses.com/units. We're going to have a segment there, how you can sign up for this challenge. Tell me, does it cost? Is it free? What can people expect?
Yeah. So by the time it's out to you guys, it will be a paid challenge. But here's the thing: if it's more of a fee of a commitment. So what that means is that you get in, and what we don't want to happen is we don't want you to get started, and then you start day 1, and then day 2 rolls around, like nothing happens. You put it on the shelf and it's gone. It's in the void or eternal bliss or eternal abyss. That's what it is. That's what we want to avoid. So we want you to have a financial commitment, because we know that way you're going to finish and you're going to start. And the guarantee we make is that if you don't find a single lead from that challenge, we give you all your money back. That's it. Like you got to have done it. How much is it? Yeah. So right now we're going to launch at 37, but we may increase it to 47. So you may want to get started as soon as possible. $37, not $3,700. $37. No.
Okay.
$37.
Okay. I agree. It's a crazy, stupid low fee. It's like, if you don't want to pay $37 to learn how to get some leads, we just assume you not get involved.
Oh yeah.
To put it harshly, you can't say it because you're selling it, but I'll say it for you. If you don't want to pay 30, that's like, you know, if you don't want to pay $37 to learn how to get some leads with a guarantee that if you don't get at least one lead, you get your money back. We rather you wait till you're a little more ready to get into the business. Okay?
Yeah. Oh, some of you spent more in your your dinner date last time.
Yeah. How much did that pay you?
Paid 37 for wine.
I have a book called My Life in 1,000 Houses: The Art of Owner Financing, which I go and describe in detail what I'm paying for my houses and how I'm seller financing to my buyers and how I'm making money seller financing my buyers and creating a cash flow without having to be a landlord and have any liabilities to speak of. And that book is $50. And I've had people get mad at me that my book, why are you charging so much for this book? And it's like, I say, I get real calm, especially the madder they are, the calmer I get. I say, look, set the book down, set it down on the table. Okay, take your hands off of it. Okay, now back up. You're not ready for this book. You don't understand. There's $1 million in that book and you're bitching about $50.
Right.
One single idea in that book will make you $10,000, easy.
Right.
So you don't want to pay. And the reason why I set my price at $50 for that book is that book can be used to hurt a lot of people if you're not a fair guy, right? If you're not committed to the business, you can even inadvertently mess people up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I just figured if you're not serious enough to pay $50 for the book, I don't think you're serious enough about that one strategy. Maybe you should just stay out of it,
Right.
Because you got to have a commitment to learn how to do these things right. Because when you don't do things right, not only could you hurt yourself, but you could hurt people that don't even, if you do something wrong, you deserve to get a slap or have a little thing go wrong, but you're hurting people that didn't know any better, that you brought in, you know what I mean? So I really, really don't like that. And that's why these laws and regulations get passed and stuff, is because people don't study up enough before they start some of this stuff. By the way, while we're on that subject, I'm going to plug Texas100.org. If you're a real estate investor and you're making money in this industry, please support Texas100.org. We have the lobbyists that are going to Washington to find out the laws they're proposing. It's been a lot about Dodd-Frank and seller financing lately, but don't wait till they start coming out for rent controls or something to try to get on board. We got to get way ahead of these things. So Texas100.org is looking for 100 real estate investors to pay $1,000 a year. So we have 100 times 1,000 is 100,000. So we can hire a lobbyist to watch all the rules and regs that they're trying to pass and everything they try to do when it comes to real estate investing.
Yeah.
And
now, Mitch, do you have to be a Texan for that?
No,
or?
you don't. You don't.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Matter of fact, you could model after us and start Oklahoma 100. Or you know what I mean? Or
yeah,
I don't care. There's some people talking about Georgia wants to do it, but you've got, because normally what happens, one state falls and then the next states start to fall and they start using the same language.
Right. Oh, it starts with California and then it goes to New York, and
New York started rent controls. Watch it start working its way down.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Texas100.org. That's Texas100.org. Go there. If you can't pay the $1,000, pay whatever you can. But we're really looking for 100 Texas investors for $1,000 a year. If you're successful in this business, it's nothing. It's nothing to be appraised of just the whispers of what they're talking about legislating.
Right.
We'll get in that early. The saying is, if you are not at the table, you are on the table, which is to say, if you're not in the negotiations of how this law is going to be written, then you're just going to be written out of existence. Be careful. All right, my friends, get the book, 0 to 75 units in 1 year at 1000houses.com/units. Also, take the challenge of how to generate leads. If you don't get at least one lead, they'll refund your money. Right now it's $37. They reserve the right to change their price anytime they want, maybe $47 or $4,700. They have the right to change it whenever they want. Right now it's a measly $37. Why don't you go over there and sign up for it? If you do not get one lead from this 5-day experience, then they will gladly refund your money. That's what he said. That's what he said, right?
Yeah, I said it. Yep.
And so I don't know how you lose on this. If you get one lead, now if you don't convert the lead, you can't blame that on them. It's did you get a viable lead? You know,
Right.
If you get a viable lead, what you do is after that. But I suppose if you get one viable lead from it, you can use the same tactics to get many, many more leads and go way beyond the 5 days. They're just trying to get you fired up here, you know?
100%. That's it.
You focus for 5 days, show you what can happen, and then it's up to you. All right, my friend, anything you want to tell the audience before we wrap it up here?
No, I think that's just about it. And yeah, the big thing I want everyone to walk away with is that there is no disadvantage that is present in this country. There's none. There's just zero. I think that's a lie and it's an excuse for people to sit around and do nothing and be comfortable. But yeah, don't buy into it. In fact, I've recently realized that the goal of life is not to be comfortable. It's not. It's a fallacy you fall into. To be comfortable in life is to give, contribute, and grow. And that is uncomfortable, to give, to contribute, and to grow as a person.
And I would like to point out, to me, those three words have a forward motion to them. You're moving forward. And I will say, in my humble opinion, there is no neutral. You're either moving forward or you're moving backwards. I mean, you think you're neutral when you're sleeping. You're not. If you don't get up you're burning energy. You don't get up at some point, you'll starve to death. You know, you're moving backwards. Even in your deepest sleep, you are progressing backwards. And so there is no neutral. Certainly there is no neutral in your finances. You're either making more or you're losing. There is no I broke even. I mean, maybe for a split second you're even, but then the needle teeters one way or the other, because it never stays right there. It can't stay right there because everything's always deteriorating from your own body. Your last meal that you had, everything's always deteriorating. So there's no neutral. If we're going to get into a discomfort, let's get in one moving forward. Let's be uncomfortable moving forward, not backwards.
Yeah.
Right?
100% agreed.
Man, I love you, Sam. You're a great guy. I can't wait to see you and your brother again. You're in Chicago, right?
Yeah. And actually, Mitch, a little interesting fact. In 3 years, I have plans to move down to Texas. So we're looking at Dallas, Fort Worth area to be able to uproot from.
Good. Bring your guns. We're going to need them. Yeah,
I got a few. I got a couple thousand rounds and some ration, emergency food, all kinds of stuff. So we'll rock. Okay, so
if you ever make it to San Antonio, or when you make it to San Antonio, please look me up personally. Stay on the call when we're done. I'll give you my phone number. Maybe
all right, perfect.
Come visit me.
All right.
This is Mitch Stephen with 1000houses.com. Again, that link is 1000houses.com/units. Make sure you get your free book and make sure you take advantage of the 5-day challenge on getting leads. I would like to thank livecom.com, LIVECOMM.com. It's all about capturing your prospects' incoming calls, cell phone number, and being able to text that and how to use that to generate leads. I generate a ton of leads because when I put out signs, I put out free recording. When I put out ads, I put free recording, or whatever I put out, I use a smartphone number. And when someone calls my smartphone number from a cell phone, it captures their cell phone number. They are now a prospect of mine. So technically they are my customer now. They've called me. I didn't call them. I'm not cold calling or cold texting. They contacted first. And now I can show you all kinds of ways to do that. LiveCom and the smartphone number system has transformed my house sales into 4 days on the market, and I use no signs. I don't use one sign, not even a sign in the front yard, and I sell my house in 4 days. All that's to do with smartphone numbers and the LiveCom system, LIVECOMM.com. Check it out. All right, we're out of here, boys and girls.
All right, see you guys.
See you, Sam.